Ben and Rilla's first season, and they'd been surprised by how successful it had been. Rather than making it into a traditional campsite, they'd used clearings in the woodland that surrounded the house, which provided campers with a place where they could escape and be embraced by nature, albeit with the luxury of several compost loos. Beth smiled at this as she passed one of the little wooden sheds which held one, thinking that by no stretch of the imagination would she consider a compost loo a luxury. But she was very definitely not a camping fan. There was even a wooden shed they'd built, which held 2 gas-powered showers, and that was only one of the ways they'd diversified, along with many of the residents in this part of the world. Getting together with Rilla, who'd been a childhood friend, had been the making of her brother. It was lovely to see them together, still clearly as besotted with each other after a year and a half or so as they'd been when they first reconnected. "Morning!" Polly, her younger sister, was standing outside the farm shop when she pulled up into the yard. "Flower delivery for you. I might come to life after 18 gallons of coffee if there's any going." "Do you need to ask?" Polly opened the boot and lifted out the black plastic buckets, each one stuffed with closely tied bunches of narcissus, buttery yellow petals just peeking through the papery buds. "Oh, I love these! They're like sunshine in a vase, aren't they?" Inside the old outbuilding, which Polly had converted into the farm shop, the air was, as always, scented with the delicious smell of freshly brewed coffee, as well as the warm and welcoming scent of the newly baked bread delivered by a local artisan bakery. When Polly had first opened the shop, it had been one room with a hastily knocked-together wall of rough wooden shelves. As the months had passed, she'd brought in a joiner who'd created a far more aesthetically pleasing set of fittings. The wall into the adjoining outbuilding had been knocked through, and a little kitchen and coffee shop had been created. A broad slab of wood edged with bark acted as a table, where metal chairs were already populated with people from the village. Beth smiled hello to Jenny, one of the mums she recognised from the nursery run, and her mother, Delina, who was holding court about something. "And when I heard," she was saying, her mouth pursed in disapproval, "I said to Helen that it's not the sort of thing we want in our little village. I mean, it's bad enough we've got all these tourists coming in all over the place every summer, and it's getting worse." "Flat white." Tom, who ran the little coffee shop, lifted an eyebrow in Beth's direction. He'd started preparing it even before she'd nodded acknowledgement. He flicked her a brief glance, which spoke volumes. "If we didn't have all these tourists," he said lightly, tamping down the coffee and flicking the machine handles as he did so, "this place wouldn't be making any money, and I wouldn't have a job." "Aye?" said Delina, her mouth still downturned. "Fair enough, but you know as well as I do you can't get parked on the main street from April to September, and it's getting worse. We don't have the infrastructure for tourism. There's one public toilet for one thing." "Kirsty at the bookshop says if it wasn't for the summer trade she'd have closed down. She sells countless guidebooks and maps and all the rest of it every day." Tom swirled the milk, pouring it into the cup and making a pretty design before sliding it across the counter to Beth. "And I sell loads of flowers," Beth said, tearing open a packet of sugar and tipping it into her cup, feeling guilty for desecrating Tom's design. "Really? I'm surprised at that," said Jenny, sounding like her mother. "I mean, what are people on a holiday going to do with flowers?" Beth laughed. "I haven't a clue. Decorate their camper vans? Take them home the next day? Put them in their granny's caravan in Ullapool? Whatever it is, I'm glad they are." "Well, maybe it's just those of us who are inconvenienced by it and aren't making a profit who don't appreciate it," said Delina, her mouth looking ever more like a cat's bum. Beth took a very slow breath in, not rising to it. "Perhaps." "What's up?" Polly, who'd been arranging the flowers on the little wooden stand by the door, came up to join them, wiping her hands on her jeans. "Am I missing hot village gossip?" She tucked her long blonde hair behind her ears and reached across, helping herself to one of the chocolate brownies that lay on a plate on the counter. "I'll owe you for this," she said to Tom, her mouth already full. "Have you not heard?" Delina sat up slightly in her chair, bristling with self-importance at being the one to convey the news. "All those comings and goings at the old McKay place." Beth exchanged a glance of complicity with her sister. She wasn't about to admit to Delina, the gossip queen of Applemore Village, that yes, they'd been talking about it on the phone the other night. She didn't let on that they'd had a good look at the plans on the council website either. "It's an outdoor adventures place. Whitewater rafting, orienteering, that sort of thing. Not just adventure."